we've got a federal judge holding hearings with some of Los Angeles' top officials, basically asking, where has all the money gone for the homeless in Los Angeles? It's just up in flames, up in smoke. Where did it go? And officials are, Well, today's story kind of focuses on one of those storylines. Whistleblowers say Los Angeles' top homeless official hired unqualified friends, tried to destroy public records because all of this money coming in, it wasn't producing results. Not a shocker. Let's get into it. Here we go. If you follow California news at all, you'll hear about this judge who is just getting worked up. He's like, you guys aren't telling me anything new. I don't really know where any of this money is spent. And he's kind of an oversight judge. And he's just frustrated. He's like, nobody's giving me any real information. What in the F are you guys doing? Here we go.
Is underway to figure out how the city of LA has been spending money to help the homeless. This all comes as a judge considers transferring control of homeless spending from the city to a third party. NBC4's Conan Nolan joining us live from downtown LA with details from day one in court. Conan.
You guys aren't responsible enough. I'm taking it away from you, city officials, and I'm giving it to you, unknown third-party entity, right? I mean, what could go wrong?
And that's right, Kathy. A little bit of background. It was in 2020 that a group of businesses and residents in downtown sued the city of Los Angeles and the county of LA, saying they had spent billions of dollars but hadn't done enough to deal with the homeless problem. Then there was a settlement with both the city and county pledging we will do better, committing thousands of beds and shelter space for homeless over the next several years. Then another suit saying they hadn't done enough after making that settlement. Well, that was the point today in court, in the court of David O. Carter, the federal court judge who's been very active in the homeless effort. He is concerned about this so much that he has threatened to have the federal court.
Concerned. He is so concerned. There's my favorite buzzword. We have great concern about the amount of homelessness going on in Los Angeles.
The city's homeless effort. Among those in the audience, members of the homeless community, actually. Now, the focus was on a highly critical audit that accused the LA Homeless Services Authority, which the city contracts with, of having little transparency and that it was impossible to know what services had been delivered and to whom actually got off the street, if anybody. Auditor Diane Rafferty of the auditing firm Alvarez and Marisol on the witness stand became at one point emotional when describing conditions on Skid Row, saying other auditors with her team a form of PTSD after spending so much time assessing the city's homeless effort. Now, attorneys for
PTSD just from walking around and taking a look at Skid Row. That sounds like to me like I was at the Christian church event outside City Hall, and you had a bunch of whacked out far left extremists. You had Antifa just outside screaming at the Christians who were holding basically a church event at City Hall and telling the mayor, hey, you're calling us right-wing extremists and we just believe in God and, this is our deal. After I stood there for about 3 hours and listened to these absolute lunatics from the far left, people responsible for the whole, Black Lives Matter and, defund the police and all that ridiculousness, who are now, they're free Palestine and, trans kids, trans rights, they're, all that nonsense. After hearing that for 3 hours, I had PTSD for the rest of the week. It happened on a Tuesday night, and Wednesday, Thursday, I was still rattled because these people, these situations are so bad. Skid Row is so bad. Antifa and their ideology and the way that they address things, which is just basically screaming at people, is so bad.
The city pointed out that Rafferty has a healthcare background and is not an expert in assessing homeless programs, and argued that the audit made assumptions about future homeless efforts that were not based in fact, including Matt Szabo on the witness stand now. He's LA City's CEO. He says the obligation for the city is about 13,000 beds by by June of 2027, and that the city will do that the city is in line to essentially do their part as part of this agreement. What we have yet to hear is whether or not Mayor Karen Bass has been subpoenaed, whether she will testify tomorrow, or members of the city council, Monica Garcia and Tracy Park, both members of the council, who are highly critical of the homeless effort. Reporting live downtown in the Civic Center, I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News. Back to you.
So you've got these hearings going on, and this is the side story. This is one of those underlying stories as to how we got here and where did some of that money go. Here we are. Whistleblowers say LA's top homeless official hired unqualified friends, tried to destroy public records. Why is that? Why were you trying to destroy public records? Well, come to find out, the money that was being spent, it really wasn't going anywhere that was productive, was it? LA's top homeless services official, Valicia Adams Kellum, engaged in major misconduct, including hiring unqualified friends into powerful positions, trying to destroy public records, and behaving inappropriately at a conference, according to 2 whistleblower claim letters obtained by LAist. Now, we've touched on this a little bit. We've touched on this specific story a little bit, but we're going to focus on it more today because this is one of those deals where you're like, okay, this is why this judge and folks that are trying to get some positive results for the homelessness issue in California, specifically LA, with 75,000 known homeless folks, and yet you've got a commitment by 2026 to have 13,000 beds. Math isn't mathing, right? The letters were written by an attorney on behalf of 2 former LA Homeless Services Authority employees who alleged that they were wrongfully fired for speaking up against wrongdoing by the director, Adams Kellum. Written claims such as these are a required step before filing a lawsuit against a local government in California. Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority arranged for $800,000 to be paid to the 2 whistleblowers so that the actual information was never released, because then you can cover it up, right? It was an undisclosed settlement. Former Chief Financial and Administrative Officer Christina Dixon and former top IT and data official Emily Von Henry got paid $800,000 to settle the claims before they became public lawsuits. We've got shenanigans. These are the shenanigans. People with character who clearly are sketchy, because $800,000 went out to basically pay these people off because the optics of this information coming out were not good for Los Angeles, not good for the Los Angeles Housing Specialists Authority, services, whatever it is, which has the individual responsible for this one, the Kellum that we're talking about, she's resigned. And the LASA is basically being dissolved because it's gone nowhere fast. The settlement amount is equivalent to what it costs to shelter as many as 40 unhoused people for a year. Some of the numbers I saw, it was Los Angeles is billions and billions and billions of dollars spent in their last budget, $7,000 per person per month homelessness. What it costs to take care of those folks, people who are not out on the streets, just living their best homeless life. Those who are in housing, $7,000 a month between not only the shelter, but food and then services, mental, physical, whatever. Legal experts previously told LAS the agency was violating public records by withholding the whistleblowers' written allegations that led to the payouts. But after continued questioning and 2 articles by LAist about the experts' analysis, Los Angeles Homeless Specialists Authority attorneys ultimately reversed themselves and released those letters with extensive redactions that a public records attorney says are unlawful. Hey, we released them. Yeah, but you crossed out all the good stuff. We have no idea who did that. This is why the folks you have running the homeless industrial complex They don't want to give up any of this money. They don't want to give up their budget. They don't want to give up their position. They don't want to give up their authority. And you've got a judge breathing down their neck. Now, will anything change? I mean, who knows? This is Los Angeles. This is California, right? Probably not. Probably not. There'll just be more investigations. Where did that money go? What happened to that money? Where is the taxpayers' money? I have concerns. I am outraged. Courts have repeatedly ruled that the public is entitled to know the content of misconduct complaints and investigation findings about senior government officials. Hey, but if we pay them off, nobody's the wiser. Now, in a private settlement with the amount unknown, spokesperson for Adams-Kellum's administration said Los Angeles homeless, yada, yada, denies the allegations, but still paid out $800K. Yeah, but we're denying it didn't happen. It didn't happen the way that they said it did. But said no formal investigations were started into the specific allegations against her. Adams-Kellum's administration has not answered whether they reported the allegations to county auditor, controller, No, they didn't. They didn't do jack. They just did a cover-up. This is the cover-up. Something required for all allegations. What the whistleblowers alleged. In the newly disclosed letters, the whistleblowers alleged that Adams-Kellum, the leader, this person right here, responsible for a lot of the shenanigans in California with the homeless complex, she pushed out experienced staff to hire unqualified friends. So that means the money goes to unqualified friends of hers and former subordinates from her previous job into high-level, high-salary Los Angeles homeless, yada, yada roles. One of these hires used their personal cell phone for official communications in violation of agency policy. These folks, there's no responsibility. There's no accountability. They talk about transparency all the time, but they've got zero. They've got none. The Los Angeles Homeless Authority officially repeatedly withheld accurate data about Mayor Karen Bass's signature homeless program, Inside Safe. Oh, you cooked the books on the data. And that's why this judge that we heard is so pissed. He's like, where's it all going? What's happening? Because Adams-Kellum did not want Mayor Bass to look bad. Oh, she cooked the books to make the mayor look even less bad. Even though the mayor was in Ghana when the wildfires broke out, right? That whole thing. She's not going to live that one down. Von Henry's claim letter says that Adams-Kellum retaliated against her for not being willing to hide the number of clients being served by Inside Safe. You know what? In order for me to carry out this ruse, this is the leader, this is this individual here. In order for me to carry out this ruse, I'm going to need you to help me cook the books on these numbers. Are you going to do that for me? Are you going to be a good employee? No. And then that's how we end up with, $800,000 in damn near $1 million in settlement. Now, $200,000 came from taxpayers' pockets, and the other $600,000 came from an insurance policy. The insurance policy, right? Adams-Kellum asked Los Angeles' top IT official to violate record retention laws by deleting 2 official emails. Oh, and by the way, I need you to delete a few of these bad boys because the numbers don't look good. The whistleblower letter claims this was intended to protect the person who had emailed Adams-Kellum. Oh, we need to protect the sender of that email. No, you didn't. The emails were sent in violation of the city's communication policies. You've got just a bunch of shenanigans going on here. I mean, and that's how you spend literally billions and billions and billions of dollars. Widespread shenanigans, incompetent people making terrible decisions, because that's what incompetent people do. These people have never run real businesses. They have zero accountability, and they're just spending the taxpayers' dollars, your dollars, on nonsense. And they want to keep this going because if they actually get everybody into housing, homeless industrial complex, it's solved. Hey, we fixed it, guys. We fixed it. We made it go. And then their jobs no longer really required. So you got to have people just living like animals out on the streets doing fetty until they die, because otherwise the billions and billions and billions of dollars that, go to homelessness don't need them anymore. Don't need them anymore. Adams-Kellum engaged in inappropriate and unethical behavior. Adams-Kellum wanted to spend public money on an open bar at 𝗧𝗜𝗠's holiday party. I don't really care about that. But then when you magnify that over incident after incident after incident, that's how you spend billions of dollars. You spend billions of dollars on buying up hotels that get trashed and then rinse, repeat. You spend billions of dollars on stuff that the homeless don't really need that you hand out anyway. You spend billions and billions of dollars on services. And those might be people that are there in the community to help, but they don't really do a damn thing. It's all their salaries. It's all the salaries of all the people that are in the industrial complex, homeless industrial complex, that have a handout. Give me my salary. I'm qualified. I'm a DEI hire. I'm qualified. Adams-Kellum then allegedly suggested a vendor pay for the alcohol. Let's cook the books a little bit more. Would you mind carrying this one and we'll pay you privately later? That'd be good. We'd be okay with that. Yeah. When told that would be a conflict of interest, Adams-Kellum allegedly got angry again. These people don't know, where to draw that line. Hey, you can't do that. Oh, yes, we can. We just did it. All right. How's that working out for you? That little investigation. And this individual she is no longer with the agency because she was terrible and she stepped down before she got fired. I believe, is that how that went? 𝗧𝗜 leadership failed to commission a neutral investigation into allegations. Again, not a shocker because then they'd have to face down the reality. Their organization is just a piece of you-know-what. So the settlements prevented public lawsuit and witness testimony. So because they settled, this information doesn't really come to light. All the specifics of the information doesn't come to light. Once litigation is commenced, we intend to take thorough and exhaustive discovery and depose each one of the employees. Oh, that wouldn't have looked good. There's already a high level of public and media interest in the recent terminations at 𝗧𝗜, and a public lawsuit will undoubtedly have far-reaching repercussions for many city and county officials. It was going to be a terrible look. The lawsuit would have happened, would have been terrible. In March, 𝗧𝗜's governing commission authorized $800,000 in settlement payments to resolve the claims and prevent a public lawsuit. Guys, do whatever you got to do. Offer them whatever you got to offer them. Let's make this bad boy go away. And that's literally what you're looking at. As you got a federal judge, just basically, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? Here we go. 𝗧𝗜 paid $200,000 of the settlement out of general fund. Taxpayers, you. And the other $600,000 was paid by insurance provider Chubb. It's an interesting name for an insurance company. 𝗧𝗜 denies the allegations which weren't investigated. Oh, we didn't do anything wrong. There was nothing to see. No shenanigans here. It's all good. The payout? Those allegations were all wrong, but in the interest of saving the taxpayers millions and millions of dollars, we didn't really want to go to court. We didn't want to, have that pesky information get out there that would make us look even worse than we do now. Therefore, we settled. 𝗧𝗜 denies the allegations weren't investigated. The Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, yada, yada, denied the allegations presented in the letters and resolved these matters with advice of outside counsel. Blame the attorneys. The attorneys told us to do it. I don't know. And based upon many factors, including business considerations, the agency said in an emailed statement, 𝗧𝗜 does not wish to litigate this case in the media and will offer no further comment on this matter. The allegations were not formally investigated. Right? And that's that is how we get where we are, with just absolute shenanigans going on like this. Here's kind of the ending crescendo. Perfect shield for political responsibility. 𝗧𝗜's relationship with elected officials came up at a recent federal court hearing before Judge David O. Carter. That's who we're talking about. That's who the video is about. He said the agency has protected elected officials. The agency has protected elected officials from responsibility in how billions of taxpayers' dollars have been spent on homelessness. Referring to 𝗧𝗜, the judge said it's a perfect shield for Referring to 𝗧𝗧, the judge said it's a perfect shield for political responsibility, meaning you don't have to have any. You can just do whatever you want. And that is how you literally lose track of billions and billions and billions of dollars, because there's no political responsibility. There's no accountability. There's zero transparency. There's zero follow-up. How many homeless do you have? How many beds do you have? How much did you spend on this year? They don't know. In question after question after question, even when Gavin Newsom talks about it, it's in these vague terms because they don't really know how much was spent. And the reason for that is they don't have systems in place for their financing accountability. They don't have a set standard of books for the whole thing. They got so many different little entities doing so many different things that you can't keep track of it all. And literally inquiries have been like, okay, billions of dollars were spent. Where did it go? Not really sure. Who did you spend it on? Not really sure, because we don't have the records. Don't really have an ability to track that. You think that might be kind of a problem? No, not if you got the perfect shield for political responsibility. That's the bottom line. These agencies are just hiding underneath this umbrella. Oh, we're the homeless industrial complex. This is what we do. And they do. And they take your taxpayers' dollars and just spend it on a bunch of nonsense that doesn't get results. Now, the things that they do need to get results with are putting people into treatment for drugs, alcohol, whatever, substance abuse, and putting people into treatment for mental issues, for mental instability, for screaming at the clouds. Both of those are incredibly expensive, and it could be done, but you don't have the political will to do it, because then you'd actually have to address some of this stuff going on. And there are entities that are, kind of addressing it, but you're not taking people off the streets and saying, treatment is housing. You're not doing that. And you need to be doing that. Instead, you're creating a system where an entire, 55 block area called Skid Row can exist and create PTSD for those just walking around trying to get a handle on what the dealio is. It's some wild stuff. Wild stuff. It's way outside the bounds of normal. But that's what Skid Row is, right? That's what Skid Row is. That's what the Tenderloin is. You've allowed these areas to get wildly off track and basically have escape from New York life situations happening on the streets where the cops don't even want to go there. They're like, well, I'm not going there. There's no law there. We're not, holding any homeless person accountable for anything. Set a fire if you like, do whatever if you like. No big deal. That's literally what's going on. Until you have some accountability for that, I'll have podcasts for days, weeks, months, years, and dare I say, decades. Thanks for being here. We'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.